Call the meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee to order at 6:09 PM. Councilor George should be on his way, but we have Councilor Wood here, so we have a meeting. I don't see any minutes in the package, so we won't vote on those for next meeting. And the first item, there's no, well, you're on the agenda, so you don't need to speak during public comment. Any other members of the public here?
Are you trying to hush me during public?
Well, I'm saying, so you don't need to do your presentation
have
during
something else
public
that you want to
comment. I said you don't need to do your presentation during public comment, or actually have you on the agenda
It's okay.
as an item. But is there anyone from the public that would like to speak? Anybody? I don't see anyone from the public here that wants to speak. So legislation referred for action, I believe. Order FY 23049. The release of trustee acceptance of funds, release of all restrictions and covenants, and the declaration of restrictions for the 1185 Pleasant Street parcel of property. You were at.
I was at that meeting,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I think where Jason will go over it again tonight, but it's just, us accepting the lease between the town, releasing the release.
Right,
Releasing the lease.
releasing the restriction,
Restriction on. the-
Right. and then also the acceptance of the remaining money in the trust for the rail construction. So that's incoming money. That's a little, I think it's a little over $10,000 left.
And this is on tonight's agenda, right?
Yes, for the
Yes,
council.
okay.
So is there a motion to recommend?
I'll recommend.
And I'll second that. Do you want to go in on the vote?
Sure.
So I'll make Bill made the motion, I'll second it. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'll just add that, just as we get to this item, just clarify that again, the trust money is being used for the trails. I did have a few questions this week. I think I answered them all.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we're good.
But how much is in you said 10,000?
That is more to like.
so back when the property was transferred in the 90s, I think it was in the late 90s sometime,
It was May of 1994.
or May of
Or
1994.
7, or 7, 4 or 7, but it was May.
The trustee gave the property, also gave, I think it was about $80,000 at that point. That 80,000 has now grown to about 100. This has been in kind of a gift account. So the trustee, Attorney Fletcher, has a little bit left. It's about $10,000 left that as part of this transaction, he will give to the town. All of that money, the 80,000 plus the 10, or the 80 plus whatever it is now with interest, plus the 10,000 will all go towards constructing the trail system on that
About
property.
It's about 100.
or something. Yeah.
Okay, so it's about 100,000.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else? Okay, Bill, how you vote?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
And Dennis votes yes. That's 3 yeses. Next item, FY 23050, the capital plan lease obligations, and these are, as it were explained at the meeting, are kind of like routine. These are pieces of equipment that we currently have a lease on. This is just the monies to pay the second, third, final, whatever payments, the next payment.
4 or 5, 3 or 5, whatever it is.
Is there a motion to recommend?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Nope. Sean, how do you vote?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And Dennis votes yes. 3-0. That's done. Order FY 23051, transfer order, restoration of Parthenon frieze, which I have to look this word up.
Freeze. It's
I didn't know what a frieze was.
There's pictures.
the freeze
There are
goes,
pictures.
pictures.
I have to at home and
those are
Google it.
Yeah.
those are casts of the freeze actually goes all the way around the parking lot. That's the freeze, and these are casts of parts of the freeze.
Yeah. So this is
Just to
a
be
good
technical.
restoration project, I think, and they explained it pretty well. Is there a motion to recommend?
Second.
Motion by Councilor George, second by Councilor Wood. Any discussion?
I'll just say, I heard from a good friend that if we spend the money to restore these, the value of them actually is approximately what we're investing. Because there is a market out there for them, so if we don't use them for whatever reason, there is a market. So it's not wasted money.
Is there gold under there somewhere? Chip all that paint away?
One of the,
Absolutely not as plaster. Unless you can make gold out of plaster.
one of
Rumpelstiltskin.
the five, of them, one needs some pretty significant work.
Yes, they all do. You can't see all the cracks in all of them.
So where will they get hung? Where will they be?
Hopefully, if it's feasible, right, in the, as you walk in the front entry, there's that
Oh, good,
area
good.
above.
So nobody can walk away with them.
And then we'll have to put, some kind of little signage that lets people know
Yeah, we
what
should
they are, why they're there.
make some sort of a.
Very good. Counselor Wood, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sorry.
Counselor George?
Yes,
And Counselor Gallagher votes yes, 3-0. Resolution FY 25. Okay, this is just a standing item we're having on the agenda. We did get some information at the last meeting. So I guess we'll continue to review the information we got. Do you have anything additional for tonight? No.
I don't, no, unless you want to tell me if there's additional information that you need.
At the moment, no, but there is nothing being referred to us tonight on the agenda for the council.
Okay.
So we will have nothing before us at the moment other than this.
All right.
If it's, while this is up here, I'd like to try to just set up one meeting to talk about this.
and with the funds review,
The funds review. I
Yeah.
mean, there is material. You got the package, right? There is
The
something.
last one, I don't know if I did. Maybe.
I'll send.
Now,
I'll
this is
resend
also
one.
on FinCom's agenda, right?
Yes, it is.
So,
We had a joint meeting.
yeah,
You were there.
I was there. I was there, and they had some takeaways. I wasn't there at the one from Florida, the one after,
Okay.
or the one before.
Seems like you just got.
The one after, I just got back,
I
right?
did.
Right.
So,
So they had some additional reviews to do.
Right.
And some
so
additional.
this is just gonna,
research, Yeah,
I'm just saying, eventually.
Yeah.
We need to just take a look at the percentages and say,
Yeah.
is that fine? If we want,
Yeah. And I don't know if you were I think you were still on the call or not. One of the things I mentioned to FinCom is this is an excellent place for them to be strategic,
You did. You mentioned
right?
it.
And to take on some,
I mean, we're not trying to
leading-
throw work at them,
no,
but I
well,
think,
yes,
I
but,
think this would be good for them.
but I think FinCom, like the old advisory meeting, council that everyone ignored, we should ignore what FinCom figures out. And
Right.
if they come up with a strategy for a change or addition, subtraction, or whatever, that would be I think, a good initiative on their part.
So why don't we set up a 6:15, Sean, 6:30? I mean, this will be the only thing on the agenda. We can talk about for about a half hour or so
yeah.
before the next.
I didn't expect for me to take so long to get from Hingham, but yeah, 6:15 is
We'll
fine.
do 6:15 on,
Yeah.
I think it's April 4th. April 4th.
Do you, want any additional information? We have,
I'm gonna look at what I have and then I'll
Alright.
send you an email
Did-
by the end of the week.
Just remind me, did you send something to me with like balances and stuff? I don't recall.
We got a spreadsheet from Lori.
Lori.
of all the transactions, so to
Okay.
speak.
Okay.
It was pretty good.
All right.
And we got you and Tim, I think, sponsored the initial resolution or initial order of transferring the four accounts, transferring money to the four
Yeah.
accounts.
Yeah.
So,
The free cash policy, that the initial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
That percentage, this will go into this, is like 5 or 6 different funds, and then,
Right.
I know, during the well-attended state of the town last night, Michael brought,
I forgot.
I should have seen the spread of food they had. But anyway.
I took home 3 bananas.
And the drinks.
So, there's this, we've talked about this before, is this ever looming potential of a debt exclusion for road repair. And it's going to be expensive. And, maybe it's something to start thinking about. Creating one of those accounts specifically for road. I don't know.
Yeah,
Until we get the
Yeah.
roads underway,
it is a capital.
Because I know the roads in this town, in every town, and I really think, I hate to see the taxpayers have to be asked. Because the federal money seems to be the federal government seems to want to help with bridges and roads. The state seems to want to do it. We do get our chapter 90s monies. I'd like to see what our dancing partners look like. And then say to the voters, okay, can you help out with this much?
Right.
But to do it all without that, I don't think would fly. So, but that's just something to think about. Funds review. We'll meet in a couple of weeks at 6:15. So let's move on to our discussion item tonight. The town clerk has reached out to us to ask to be on the agenda. She did send some documents for us to read ahead of time. Salary and budget discussions. So,
Oh, you want it? Okay.
Your discussion.
huh?
Do you need anything?
I don't.
Ron, did you send it to my town email? or-
Yeah, you do send stuff to my home email. You should.
You know what? Sometimes it's in there because things I'm sending from the town clerk shouldn't go to
Well,
town, to your town
Counselor?
account. Yeah.
Why is that?
I think part of the discussion would be good for you to hear, because you
I
are
brought- I
managing
updated it anyway.
the overall
Sean,
budget.
so-
You need to submit some of the items, bullet items are related to that.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
okay. I did a quick update on it and I attached a back page and I have one more piece of information that Jolie pointed out to me today, so I have been going by the assumption that everybody would have read it because I didn't want to take up all your time, but
I did read it. And
specifically
I
it
haven't read the
it
revision.
was,
Yeah.
or quickly, it's saying that until 2008, the town clerk's office always had 3 to 4 people in it. Jolie says sometimes there were 4 plus the paid town clerk. So in 2008, when the budget was robbed, it dropped back down to 1.5 people. And now we've gotten the other half when Ron died. Christine was brought in full-time. So there are 2 people and a full-time town clerk. Whereas when we had almost 5,000 fewer people, we would have 3 to 4 people and a full-time town clerk in there. And the work has increased, I don't know, exponentially. I don't know what exponent it would be, but it's increased quite a bit. This, the last piece of paper in there shows this is what the vote by mail process used to be when we did absentee votes. And you look at the backside and this is what it is now. So considerable more work than the 3-step place that used to be. We have, if you've ever come down to our office during that time, we have envelopes and envelopes and envelopes, and they have to be categorized, they have to be computerized, they have to be checked, and they have to be rechecked, and then they have to be taken over, and they have to be checked, and then they have to be opened, and then they have to be checked, and then they have to be submitted. So there's quite a lot of work since I've even taken the job that has increased. And certainly from 2008, when the town thought it was fine to be paying 4 people to be in the office, 3 people plus a town clerk. We don't have that. And I'm not going to be here in 2024. And I don't know, and I don't say this for any reason, except that it just points out there were 5 months during COVID when I worked every single day, Monday through Sunday. I was here every weekend because I had to be on the state computer and we couldn't do that at home. And so I was in here at this office every day from, I think it was April till November. And I work all the overtime when we have to be open extra hours because I don't want to charge the overtime to the town account, which we'd have to do if we pay Jolie and Christine. And they both are very fine with that. They say they make plenty good money and they're very happy with it. And they'd rather have the time than have the overtime. So I work that so that, but I don't know that somebody else is going to do that. I don't know who's going to be town clerk, and I don't know that somebody else is going to want to do that. And I don't know how the office is going to survive without that, to tell you the truth. Because right now, when census comes in, which is what we've been doing partly now, partly dog licenses, all of that sort of thing. We have got a new dog license program that has just been a disaster for our office, just enormously time consuming and awkward. it isn't the program's fault. It's that they didn't translate everything. Dog rabies shots are good for 3 years, and they only translated 1 year worth of dog licenses to us. So for those other 2 years that we have to go back and put everything in from scratch, and it just makes it a lot of extra work. There's just a lot of work, is what I'm saying. So I would like, and I did ask Michael several times, I could meet with him and talk about getting another position for the town clerk's office. Either it could be a part-time person. I think it needs to be somebody who's benefited, somebody who's 20 hours. And I don't know that it needs to be like 3 days a week or 2 days a week. I mean, during election time, it could be somebody who's there all week for several weeks. Right now, if one person is on vacation and another person gets sick, we're really stuck. And it really came to highlight when Michael Mishley was working for us as an intern. He worked out in the office when he was there, and he learned to do the counter work and all that sort of stuff. And it really made a difference when people were taking vacations during the summer and all that sort of thing, to have somebody else there who could do some of the things. He couldn't get on the state computer, so that's why I'm saying I think it needs to be a benefited position so that the state accepts it as a permanent person who's in the office, so that they have access to their state computer. The state will have to come down and bring another setup for them because we're not allowed to use each other's state computers. But so that's one of the reasons that I'm asking for that. I really believe that we need that kind of help. I've tried to document it in there, and the last page that you guys didn't get yesterday is kind of specifically what I'm requesting: a benefited part or full-time position to be able to work the front office and the state computer. And then in years past, we always had a person, his name was Joe, who came at election times. He came and he moved all our stuff over for us. We didn't have to do that. We have to do that now at 5 o'clock in the morning. We come and get everything, we move it over to the election, so it's there for election morning. Joe would come and do all of that for us. He would stay late after the election. He helped guide. We would also have the golf course guys and the highway department guys who would come and help us set up. We don't have any of that anymore. We have to pay Kilroy Brothers to come and do the work. So a lot of things that were in place when I took over the office aren't there anymore. And we stretch, we get Carlton, we get neighbors, we get people we can to come in and do things. And I just would like to have it back to being more of a professionally run office that had systems that actually took care of the things that the office needs to do.
So, well, first of all, I think your office is running very professionally. No one really ever, I've never had complaints. So I know it's being run efficiently. Now, and I don't disagree that you don't need additional help. I know the job has changed a lot in the past 5 or 6 years. However, what I'd rather see is some sort of succession plan. I think that would be a better approach to this, because if you're telling the town a year ahead of time, so to speak, that you're not going to be the town clerk in May of
I've been
2020.
telling the town for 2 years now.
So,
Yeah.
I
It isn't
mean,
a secret.
not only that compounds the fact that you may be understaffed, is what compounds that is whoever is the next town clerk, because it will be an elected town clerk. It's too late to make it appointed.
Thank heaven, yeah.
It will be elected, and it could be elected. It will be elected by someone that does not have the knowledge or experience that you have. I don't know if there's any retired town clerks in the town or anybody in the town that works in another town that's assistant town clerk or town clerk. So no matter, however, I hope the voters do at least put somebody in there that's familiar with town government, at least knows how town government works, and has the knowledge, it has, some fair knowledge of how to grasp things quickly, so to speak. So, but no matter who takes your place, there's going to be a learning curve there. So a succession plan, I think, is something that needs to be, I mean,
I'm
you
working on
might
that.
you might like the person that gets elected and volunteer your time to come in and help them. You might be discouraged with who gets elected and say, you're on your own, buddy. I don't know.
I won't do that. That isn't my
Because it
nature.
happens in a lot of places, believe me, I know.
I don't believe it's my nature unless I'm sick and
Okay.
unable to do it or
So-
something like that. I am putting together documents,
Okay,
but I also will tell you, it's an on-the-job.
Sure.
You don't know who it's
There's
gonna
no
be. It's a
book.
succession
There's no
plan.
real
There isn't any book, there isn't any course you can go to.
right.
The clerks themselves have training classes that you can go to, but those are, limited. There will be some more after elections, then they will have it, but, sorry.
So when you submitted your budget for the fiscal 24,
Mhm.
did you, did you ask for a position in the
I
budget?
asked for meetings with Michael
Okay,
3 times. That the positions and salaries aren't part of what I do in the budget. I've never looked at a salary
Okay.
thing. You guys set my
right,
salary and the union sets the workers' salaries. So I've never looked at it, but I look simply at expenses for the office when I do budgets. That's what I
I
do in the budget.
just don't know whether we can tell the town manager, you need to add a position. I don't know if we have that authority.
I just needed to start someplace.
I hear.
It's gonna be a
and
year,
this is a-
it's gonna be a
This is a
year
good
in
place to
April.
start. And I think you've made some very good arguments. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying the process is, we have never told the town manager, you need to do this.
I
You
just,
need to,
I don't know
we
where
suggest,
else to start.
you need to, let's work on this DP that we've been saying that for years. Let's work on the highway department. They were depleted in 08. Progress has been made. Probably not to everyone's liking, but progress has been made. So I think he does that. Now, I don't know the ask that you had to meet with him. I don't know how that works out, but I don't think that he would I don't think he would object to a review or a succession plan or something to review what's happening, what's going to happen in the office in the next year or two. I don't think he would object to that.
I just don't know,
No,
how to
that's-
get an appointment with
Well,
him.
I know
that's
it's
why
hard.
that's
It's
why I
been
suggested-
particularly hard.
It is hard.
In the last, few weeks, but there is gonna be a change, and I think Dennis is right, there's a succession plan that we have to sort of plot out. Luckily for us, luckily for the town, it comes towards the end of the fiscal 24. But I'll reach out, and we'll set up a time
Okay.
for April
Because I
1st.
really, I asked first in December and I asked twice in January.
Yeah, well, that's why I suggested Mike sit in, because
We're
while we
swamped
can't,
right now. We can't do the work
while we
now. So
can't
you might think it's fine,
increase
but it isn't fine.
the budget, we can make swaps. And if the council felt that the town clerk's request was sufficiently important, we could swap out a position someplace else for a town clerk position value, under the line item. We
Reduce
are
one.
allowed to do that.
Reduce one to raise another.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Who wants to
Exactly.
make
No,
that motion?
no.
What you need to think about
I don't
is
even
you are
think
gonna
Mary
have,
would want that.
you are gonna have an unlearned town clerk by whatever, the 25th of April or the first of
And it's a
May.
big election year.
It's
it's
a big election
Yeah.
year. And whoever it is, no matter how smart the person is, no matter how much the person has done in government, I also had been in government for years before I came here. That doesn't teach you that job. There are a lot of little pieces to that job.
True,
They
but I
just
think,
aren't
I think
But-
town government background is not gonna hurt.
It isn't gonna hurt. I'm
Right.
not
Right.
dissing any of it. I'm just saying, and it could be Dave Hathaway. All right, so sorry, I just said that out in
You're on,
public.
this is being recorded, just so you know.
It could be anybody. I don't know who's gonna get elected.
Right.
So you're gonna be training, you're gonna have Jolie and Christine trying, and maybe me if I'm healthy and can come in, trying to train a new town clerk. That takes a lot of time and energy
Sure,
to do. And if you wait until then to hire an extra person, then you're gonna be training an extra person too. So, and you say, okay, well, maybe you can train both of them at the same time. So you've got 2 people training 2 people and trying to get all the work done that has to happen right in that period of time.
Well, I mean,
That's an enormous thing to ask.
the minimum, Mike, I think that we should keep in mind, maybe we'd have to transfer money in there. I mean, if there is a new town clerk in April of 2024, that's two months of that fiscal year that the current town clerk might have to come in and we don't expect you to do it for free, obviously you should get paid if you're gonna come in May and June of 2024 to help that person. So there needs to be money somewhere to pay for that.
Well,
And
and don't forget, the town council, put the annual town report onto the town clerk's page, workload without ever any compensation. We have never had any compensation to do that, and it's a huge job. And it didn't get done for 21 because I haven't gotten all the reports yet from 21. And we're still trying to do 22. And the person who has done it for me as a save worker isn't going to be there when I'm not there. It's a huge amount of work, and she has sacrificed incredibly to do it. And she said, when you're gone, I'm gone. So if you want an annual town report, you've got to figure that. Town reports are not done by the town clerk's office in other towns. I did a survey of 150 of them, came back three of them in their small towns, do their annual town reports. It's something that's usually done by the town council, the town manager, the town administrator, somebody
else.
somebody in that realm, which is where it used to be done. It used to be done by the selectmen, until it got not being done anymore, and then
The
landed in
transition
my office.
is what kind of wiped it out. I don't know.
Well, no, we don't, you don't have any documentation of your
I
transition.
don't
There
know if
isn't
we're
one.
required to do one as a.
You aren't
We're
as
not
a
required
city.
to law.
You're not required by law, but
It'd
Dennis,
be nice to
you
have.
were
one.
required to do it in 2009 and 10, and you
We did,
didn't do
yeah.
one then.
Yeah.
And then you didn't do one in 11, 12, 13, or 14. I went back and did 15 when
Right.
I got there. So we've done it from then. But the whole transition of this government is not traced in a town report anyplace to say what happened. Yeah, I think that's very
Which is too
sad.
bad, yeah.
I think that's really too bad. That's a big oversight on someone's part. Water
So
under the bridge, over the
we'll
dam, wherever
talk
it is.
about that too, but in the meantime, Michael has said he's willing to sit down with you.
Okay.
So as far as any adjustment for your salary for the next fiscal year, Michael's gonna get me the matrix of where you are right now in the wage and personnel, and we'll look at that matrix and look and see where we want to put you at. The
Mhm.
next step, if there's another
Yep,
step.
I wasn't trying to talk,
I thought it was in here, the salary's in here, so.
no, I didn't say anything about my salary except my gripe about the first 5 years.
Okay.
When
Did you
you
talk
when you
about-
made sure that I had a
The
considerably
salary
lower.
has now been stabilized at a mid-range for a town the size of Ridgewood.
Yep, that's what I
With 2
said.
employees, thus the office is staffed by 2 full-time elected, so.
So I wasn't talking about a raise for the salary. That wasn't part of my thing. My
But
thing
that
is
is
having,
something that the council needs to
But
vote.
we
That-
need
that's
to-
the council's-
We need to put
that's the
something forward,
council's
and we will look at the
job.
matrix and put an order in.
the thing I did put in my request, yes, you're right, Dennis, in my request, my very last request is asking for a commitment from the Budget and Finance Committee that it will not recommend lowering the town clerk's salary in FY 2005 when a new clerk begins to serve. I think that is highly offensive and was extremely wrong and something.
agree.
Yes, I'm bitter about
I
it.
agree, and I think that whomever runs for your position and wins that position, they're running for a position that pays a certain amount of money.
Yes.
Just like when you run for town council,
Yes.
you know what you're gonna get paid.
Well, and that needs to be changed, that needs to be changed too, a whole different.
I agree with
topic.
that, but I won't be around to see any of that, if that ever happens.
But the fact that we were told,
And maybe it gets retro back to
the
2015.
4 of us who ran, I was told, well, you didn't come in and fight for your salary while you were running for the office. And that's why the
Well, I'm sure that
town
would be a
council felt they
question.
could change
That
it.
question,
That was rude and
someone may ask
offensive. You
that
don't do
question
that
to
when you're
whoever
running for an
runs.
office. What?
Someone may ask that question to the candidates, whoever runs.
But I don't think we can make a commitment because we don't know if we're gonna be on the Budget and Finance Committee in 2024.
I mean,
It could be brand new people.
I mean, I don't.
It's fine. It was a,
We can't put in like a resolution or anything, I don't think, but
it's
I don't
fine.
think
I
it should, I
think
just said, I don't think it should be changed,
the-
whoever
The
wins.
3 of you, I think you should pass it along to fellow counselors, whoever is on Budget and Finance. It's a mean thing to do. I don't think it's really a nice way for you to have somebody start a position that the town
And-
relies on and
And, you know,
want.
the other thing too is you've worked without the pension being part of the
Yes.
Plymouth County pension or health insurance.
That's right,
The next person, the odds are they're gonna need that.
yes.
And we shouldn't,
The next person's gonna be more expensive than I was.
I
think-
agree.
I think in every way you can figure that that's the truth. So just, I wasn't gonna make that a big, big issue, but I
but we'll
do think
work,
it's wrong to
we'll
lower
work
the
on that.
salary the day after you get elected.
You sit down with Mike and talk about, some sort of succession plan and a review of the office and see if there's a need there.
Okay, happy.
So I'll have Dawn reach out, tomorrow, and we'll set up something.
I am.
Do you have anything?
No, I'm good. We'll still have to do the budget.
Other than I do think that the office is understaffed, given the responsibilities that the staff has. If someone is out for a week for whatever reason, you're down to one desk and one manager. And
Exactly.
if you hit a personal day, then you're down to one person. And when the whole,
Somebody takes a vacation and
Workload,
somebody
yeah.
gets sick.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't disagree.
it's
I think it has to be something that the manager of the town
And I-
acknowledges as well.
frankly, I hadn't come to you before because Jolie came across a picture and she said, oh, look at this. This is when we used to have a full staff in the office.
yeah,
And I hadn't, of course, thought of it that way because it hasn't been staffed that way since I've been there. So I
I think Ron
realized
always had 3 people working for
he
him, as
did.
far as I recall.
He always had 3 people working for him and sometimes he worked.
He's gonna launch me now. Okay, so thank you for coming in.
All right, thank you.
And any other public comments tonight? Anybody show up? Anybody hanging from the windows? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
The RTC is coming in to meet. They had a-
All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned at 6.
6:41.